Hey everyone, welcome to Peach Guitars. My name is Sam. Thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button. And if you have any comments or questions about today's video, please put it in the comments below. We have received a very exciting shipment from Martin. So we've got 4 guitars to show you. We just wanted to unbox them with you and show you what we've got. These are part of the Martin Custom Shop Expert range. Not sure what model is in here. 00018. And this is the 1937 spec. The thing that really kind of grabs my attention straight away is just how light these guitars are, but they still have that truss rod running through. So still that kind of modern appointments that you might need as a player, you know, in different climates, different temperatures, so you can still adjust the truss rod, won't need a neck reset or anything scary like that, but really lightweight. We'll get a little bit more into the specs of each instrument later on in the video. Just wanted to show you these as we get them out of the case. Feels amazing to receive such awesome guitars from Martin. Okie dokie. The other thing that I always love about Martin guitars are the cases. They just feel really luxurious. They're actually quite good looking cases as well. Sometimes, you know, cases around the house don't always look so nice. There's something really luxurious about them, but also really sturdy and really kind of functional as well. They really protect the instruments. D18 with the amber tone top on this. Check this out. Just beautiful. Now, Martin originally referred to these as shade tops because they kind of had variations in different sunbursts back then. But this amber tone that they're now calling it is a really wonderful color, kind of really rich sunburst. Mahogany again. We're on a D18, Adirondack spruce. We'll get some more specs as well for you guys a little bit later on in the video, as I said. But the D18, what a workhorse of an instrument. And also, just noticing as well, kind of getting them out of the cases, what the stage 1 aging on these looks like. It's not your typical kind of modern beat up guitar or too kind of harsh. It looks like an instrument that's been kept in a case, well looked after, maybe even in a cupboard or under a bed. Just tiny bits of lacquer checking and just an instrument that's seen the years, but without the kind of heavy hands, you know. Now, up next, I believe, is a natural top 18. So these are the 1937 specs as well, both the D18s and the 0018s. 1937, for some reason, seems to be this incredible year from Martin. It's always stuck in my head, but these guitars from 37, the spec from 37, just seems to be this amazing pinnacle year for the 18, for that Adirondack and mahogany combination. Now, something I love about working here at Peach is you can always tell when a guitar comes in that gets a buzz, because all my colleagues here start posting about it. And sometimes it can split the decision. Some people love it, some people don't. And then sometimes a guitar like this comes in that just, I don't know, everyone seems to agree on. And actually, all 4 of these guitars have had a lot of interest from the whole team. But this one you may have seen already posted on some social media stuff. So this is the 1937 0018 with the amber tone. Once again, so light as well. The Dreadnought's obviously designed for a bigger sound. The structure's a bit more kind of solid. They're a bit bigger. But when kind of coming back to a 000, you really do notice the weight difference. For a Dreadnought, they are lightweight because of the mahogany and Adirondack construction and the vintage construction from the 1937 kind of authentic spec. But coming to that 000 really does feel so light, and you know that it's just going to resonate and kind of have its big open voice as well. So we want to touch a little bit on Martin's history. As I think I said in the unboxing part of this video, there is too much to cover in a single video. We'd be here for hours. So if you don't know about Martin and you're interested, it's very, very worth doing a deep dive into the kind of company's history and the family history, because it's amazing. And it also speaks volumes of the quality and the care and the passion that still resides within Martin, that it is still family owned. Started by Christian Frederick Martin, now owned by Christian Frederick Martin IV, the great grandson. And I just love that. I think it speaks volumes of the history and the future of the company, and also of the passion and love that's put into the guitars. So the 18 series that we know and love, the kind of spruce tops with mahogany back and sides, was first kind of seen and introduced in the mid-1800s, but not really kind of as we know it until the 1930s. So they started, and this was, I love this, this was in reflection of their connection to the players and demands from players. They made the 14th fret neck joint. All other acoustic instruments at that time, acoustic guitars, were 12 fret, making access higher up much harder. And so they listened to the players, and they still do that to this very day. Now, the Dreadnought, which we showed in the unboxing, was first shown, or first designed, sorry, between, it was a collaboration between Martin and the Oliver Ditson Company in 1916. It was named after the HMS Dreadnought, the Navy battleship. They used this term Dreadnought because it was a big body guitar, like nothing else that had been seen. And it was designed to battle the higher frequency, more powerful instruments, the violin, the mandolin, the banjo. You may think of these instruments as smaller, but they actually cut through the mix much better, or much more easily, than the guitars of the time. And in the bands of the time, the touring bands, there would be multiple mandolins, multiple banjos, violins, and so forth. So they developed this guitar, and this guitar was to be played stood up, and it was to be played against the chest. So there was this kind of pressure and support against the chest to project volume out. And that's where the Dreadnought just kind of took off. So first guitar on my lap, first guitar that we did in the unboxing is this, the 1937 spec 00018. Now, I've actually been really lucky to play some original 30s and 40s Martins, and I would say this is as close as a modern guitar can get in the way it feels. The mahogany back and sides, genuine mahogany, the Adirondack spruce top. Adirondack is from the kind of eastern peninsula, or kind of upstate New York kind of area of America. And there's something about using Adirondack on these guitars as well, because Martin, based in New York City originally, moving to Pennsylvania later on, they used Adirondack spruce from very early on in the company's history. And it really is such an amazing tone wood. It's at lower altitudes than things like Sitka or alpine spruce, and so therefore the grain pattern is slightly wider, warmer, kind of more humid climates as well. The neck profile on this guitar is something really special, very unique in its taper, like the guitars from the 30s. Bone nut, bone saddle, open toe saddle as well. Also the forward shifted X bracing on all of these guitars, allowing a little bit more flex and a little bit more power and drive from the top of the guitar. So now moving into the D18 model, so the bigger body. For those of you kind of new to Martin, they do this wonderful thing. They assign a letter or a numerical value to the body shape, and then numerical value, or maybe occasionally a letter as well, indicating the appointments and some of the specifications. And so you can know so quickly what that guitar is about, what its lineage is, what its history is. And the 18 will often, or pretty much always, indicate a spruce top on a mahogany back and sides. And if it doesn't, they will specify that afterwards with, once again, an assigned letter or an assigned numerical value, or maybe even just a title. But this is as traditional as they come. The spruce, Adirondack spruce, again on the genuine mahogany back and sides. But there's so many different kind of applications to these instruments, as shown by bluegrass players and, you know, guys who are playing intricate solo lines on big-bodied dreadnought guitars. They are perfect for your big open strumming chord progressions, bar chords, all those things. You'll get a nice balance across the instrument, but they can be used for all the intricate fingerstyle stuff, all the single note lines as well. So we want to touch on the difference between the 1937 D18 and the Triple O. Now, really, it comes down to the body depth and the shape, obviously. The Triple O, where it cuts in a little bit in that, has a kind of skinny waist, cuts a little bit of the mid-frequencies out, allowing a little scoop in the frequency. I think that does kind of lend itself to some more kind of brilliance in the kind of fingerstyle and the delicate stuff. Sometimes, and this can be a very personal choice, and this could even come down to, are you using the guitar for live work? Are you using it for recording? Are you using it to accompany your voice? Do you have a high voice, a low voice? You know, there's so many different variables to why you would choose an acoustic guitar. From the big rectangular shape of a dreadnought, I'm hearing more mids, a little bit more bass end as well, kind of more brilliance and oomph from that bass end, but also because the body is deeper, you get a little bit more volume as well, naturally, for those big open chords. I also want to mention that if you were to find a 1937 D18 in decent condition, playable condition, the prices are astronomical now, hoarded by collectors, or the minute they come up for sale, they're snapped up, and the price tags are going up and up and up. And I think Martin, being able to produce guitars like this, where they've treated the wood so well and so carefully, and they've built it so accurately to that time period. If you're looking for a guitar that feels like it has history, it has that authenticity to it, but it has modern playability, and kind of has been machined and looked after in certain ways that you can trust. Because also the other thing about buying a vintage instrument is it sometimes can be a gamble. You don't know whether it will need a neck reset, what kind of humidity it's had or been exposed to, what kind of life it's had. Has it been in a case, out of a case, in a glass cabinet? Has it been near a you know, all the things that we worry about buying vintage instruments. And I think you don't have to think about any of those things with buying one of these modern custom shop experts. So next up we have another D18, once again a 1937 spec. I wanted to mention the finish on these guitars. It's a proprietary design from Martin from an old ingredients list that they found in an old part of the warehouse, and it just allows the wood to breathe. It's very light, and this is also their proprietary vintage low gloss finish that is just so delicate on the guitar, doesn't smother the woods in any way. Once again, an Adirondack spruce, a natural finish on this. It's a really lovely light color spruce, and this is going to age and kind of patina over time. Ebony fretboard, ebony bridge, bone nut, bone saddle, forward shifted X bracing, and just some of the details like the fine kind of thin lines of the binding around the rosette as well as the body, the simplicity of the binding around the body, and the simplicity again of the purfling, just this very simple center strip through the middle here. Waverly open back machine heads again, and I just think the gold of the Martin decal on the rosewood headplate looks fantastic. And I am sorry to do it, but I did it in a previous Martin video, but until you've got a Martin in your hands and you smell one, you won't know that they smell absolutely fantastic. And that is a mix of the glues and the woods. And on this model as well, I want to include to tell you guys that it is a hide glue construction as well, really kind of leaning to that vintage appointment and specification. Now, I've been asked to talk about players and the guitars, the 0018 and the D18's contribution to music. And it once again, it seems unquantifiable. I can't really find the words. But players like Chris Christopherson, Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, Elvis, Rich Robinson, I mean, an endless array of kind of historic musicians, you know, the top of the top, the most famous you can think of, who are kind of in their older years now, or maybe not with us anymore, famous in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, and even players as far back as Doc Watson and other players who really kind of just changed the game of music. They changed the approach to acoustic guitars. They changed how they were played, the styles, and these guitars have been around for every new development, every new technique, every new style of music, and are still used by producers, record producers, artists, and session musicians everywhere. And there's something about kind of going back to some of the technical specifications from a year like 1937 and bringing that forward. And it's amazing to see just how relevant it still is today. So moving on to the last one of the bunch in the delivery. Now, this is another 0018, the 1937 spec. This kind of run out of superlatives to describe these guitars eventually. The weight of it, the balance of it, the actual tone kind of just with the strings so gently plucked. It's got such a clear voicing, but so much energy. I also want to mention that the Triple O, I haven't said this yet, is a 24.9-inch scale length, so you get a little bit more give from the strings. And the D18 is Martin's 25.4-inch scale length, so more tension, therefore more driving force into that top, therefore a little bit more volume. It does obviously affect the tone as well. So like the other Triple O that we looked at, Adirondack spruce, genuine mahogany back and sides, I love the colour of this amber tone, and it really works with the colour of the binding as well, something so simple and understated, and the bone nut, bone saddle. The colour of the guitar has that kind of historic and vintage feel, but this also has the stage one aging, that is just a guitar that's not been on the road being hammered on and being broken in and lots of scratches and dents and all this stuff. It's just a guitar that's been in its case through all the ups and downs in temperatures and changes of life through the years, got very, very slight checking through the lacquer in just one or two places, mostly here on the front. Once again, I did mention that these guitars lend themselves to fingerstyle and all sorts of intricate guitar work, but work perfectly with open chords as well, so I'll do my best to show you both now. As ever, thank you so much for watching. We recently did a Murphy Lab acoustic video from Gibson, where Alex and I did a bit of a deep dive into the Murphy Lab guitar range. And so that kind of inspired us to do this because we had such an amazing and warm response from that video. If you enjoyed this one and the Murphy Lab one, let us know in the comments what you might like to see next. We'd also love to hear back from you as to what your favorite Martin is or was, maybe whether you want to own one, maybe you've got one, who your favorite Martin player is as well. We always love kind of interacting with you and getting feedback. And we also want to say a massive thank you. We've just hit 100,000 subscribers on our main Peach Guitars YouTube channel. So thank you to each and every one of you for making this happen and you know, kind of inspiring us to keep bringing you as best content as we can and keeping all these things so exciting to share with you. So thank you so much. We hope you're having a great summer and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.